Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played Fate Stay Night Remastered, a visual novel released in 2004 by Japanese developers Type Moon. We only played the first route of the game, Fate, but for context, Thomas and Ben had both already seen the anime that encompasses the entire game. Please be mindful of spoilers for Expedition 33, as well as some spoilers for Doki Doki Literature Club. With that out of the way, enjoy the episode. So for this week, we played the Fate Stay Night remaster. Ben, would you like to give us a quick little intro?
Yeah, sure. So, as Seth just said, we played Fate Stay Night Remastered, specifically just the first route, which is the Fate route, also known as the Saber route. It was originally developed back in 2004 by Type Moon and is primarily the brainchild, like creative brainchild of two people, Takashi Takeuchi, who's the artist, and Kinoko Nasu, who's the writer. And this individual, Nasu specifically, is just very enigmatic, very mysterious, considering how influential he is even to this day. Because, like, you know how Yoko Taro wears that Emil mask so no one knows what he looks like?
Yeah.
Well, Kinoko Nasu, there's never been like a photo, a video, like a public sighting, like literally nothing. No one knows anything about this guy other than, I guess, literally like the one or two people that he works directly with. So just a really cagey, mysterious individual.
I'm making it up now that he's the guy who made Bitcoin as well.
Oh, very true. Satoshi?
That's
Oh
him.
my god.
I don't know if that's actually that guy's name, I guessed. That's crazy, though. I actually had no idea about that. Like, there's just no, picture. There's no nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Even though that I think this series has gotten huge since this game originally came out, right? Like I really only knew the anime
Yeah.
because I have a couple friends that are obsessed with it, but yeah.
Yeah, this is like tens of millions of dollars a year revenue IP, right?
Yeah, it's huge, and that's why I think it's just so strange that like so little is known about him.
Good for him. It's awesome,
Oh.
especially in 2025, where we know too much
Yeah.
about everybody.
Agreed.
Very true. Well, I believe to start us off on this episode, unless you wanted to say more, Ben, we all collected some Steam reviews to read for this game. Is there anyone that would like to start with theirs? Otherwise, I can start with mine.
I
You guys
didn't
are
collect
not
any,
going
I
to like
just-
mine.
I just wanted to enjoy the choices you guys came up with.
Fair enough.
Mine says I bone sword, but no W in sword, and 1.5 hours, and it's recommended.
I saw that one, so I'm wondering if you saw the one I'm going to read.
We'll go ahead.
First of all, I'm going to take a drink of water, and I apologize in advance.
Oh, is this lengthy?
This is terrifying. He has to lube up his throat for this.
So we'll post the pictures in the video, presumably, but
Yeah.
I want you guys to know there's no punctuation in any of what I'm about to say. There's not a period, there's not an apostrophe, there's not even a fucking line break. Here we go. Yes, this is very peak. It's like I'm Emi Ashiro from Fate Stay Night. Thank you, Nasu, for making this masterpiece. I enjoy it very much, and I must say that 11 hours in, I'm barely at the start of the anime, like episode 1, so I think this will take more than Black Souls 1 and 2 at the same time, but considering I have around 150 hours on BS2, I don't know if this might beat HOI 4, because like I said, I can go back in the timeline and do stuff, so I don't have to restart like Black Souls, so I can keep going, do the main story in 20 minutes instead of 1 hour, and go down a diff path, because I really want to have sex with Sakura. She's bad, and after watching Heaven's Feel, I want to go down the Sakura route, but I want to do the Saber route, so that's what I'm doing right now. The Fate route, the Saber route. Yeah, I really like this game because it has my glorious goat Emiya, the best character, and also saw Gilgamesh for a bit talking to Sakura, and that's really peak, and I love Ilya. She's such a good character, and I'm like very interested to see if there's more more routes than the anime and stuff. And like if I can literally just die out of nowhere, it would be really cool if I could like have an Ilya route where I just live with her, and cause she's pretty peak. But I'm sad that there's a lack of Jeanne d'Arc in this game, because like it's not Fate Africa and Fate Grand Order or wherever she's at, but like I really love this, and I hope to see Salter in the Sakura route, and like Ingra Mainu or whatever her name was, and like see Berserker do what Berserker does. I loved the Fate Zero Berserker more, but Heracles is pretty cool too because he's like a Berserker, so like I want to go down the UBW route and see the Emiya fight because he's like a good character, and I like love him so much. I think he's my favorite character in Fate Stay Night universe, but like excluding Fate Zero, because in Fate Zero, Jeanne d'Arc appears as a flashback for the crazy caster guy for like 5 seconds, so that means she's a character, and that means she's my favorite character in like Fate Zero, so seeing as Fate Zero is prequel to Fate Stay Night, and in the same universe, IDK, if I can say Jeanne d'Arc is my fave Stay Night character, but I can't say that because, like, she's not actually seen, you know? I don't know if she's mentioned, I hope she is, but right now, Emiya is my favorite character. He's so cool with his I am the bone of my sword, and I really love him. 10 out of 10.
I like how the one award that was given to him is like the poetic, like the fucking scroll.
Fucking bone of my sword.
It's not even... Okay, well, yeah.
Holy
okay.
moly.
Wait, before we continue, are you guys going to play Unlimited Blade Works or experience it? Like, should I avoid spoilers for it?
I don't care about spoilers. I might like watch the anime or something. I don't know, but
I don't care
about spoilers.
Also, just for Tom note, it's pronounced Jeanne d'Arc.
Sure.
Jeanne d'Arc.
I believe you.
That's French.
For what it's worth, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers unless I accidentally do so, but it's good to know that if I accidentally spoil something, you guys won't care that much.
Yeah, I don't mind. I actually already knew some stuff just because I had already given the anime a shot. Anyway, my Steam review, very importantly, is the title of this person, whose title is King of Lollies. And it is a thumbs down, not recommended. If you guys don't know, by the way, I think the best way to search Steam reviews is by negative and funny, and that'll get you some really good ones. So again, mine is from King of Lollies, and it says thumbs down, not recommended. They removed the sex scenes. That was the only reason I read this 500-hour long novel a few years ago, just to see the threesome in the first route, and it was so worth it. I find this insulting. You can't just cut off something that makes this novel 18 plus. Now Fate series is officially like 13 plus. Hell, even Heaven's Feel movies have one sex scene. Why not follow the story as it is written? The new players won't even know epic memes like Defenseless Tosaka, my favorite meme from Stay Night. Cringe Remaster. P.S. Kirei Kotomin is the best fictional character.
I like how he has 0.8 hours at review time, and then on record he has 109 hours now. So at some point he turned the corner.
Yeah, that's very true. At some point, he was just like, you know what? I just really want to get the Defenseless Tosaka.
Yeah, I don't want to know what that is. Don't tell me what that is.
You don't. No one does.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I feel like the context clues are probably enough to figure it out from there.
Well,
given
guys,
Japan, etc.
I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid. I fucking hated this game. I hated this game a lot.
Figured from the way you typed about it in Discord. That's why I felt bad about choosing it.
Here's my thing. I liked the story and the plot, and like some of the characters are okay. I feel like this game has a real problem with like extremely flat character arcs. But like the story is cool. It's fun, but god, our visual novel's just a chore.
Yeah, like this is the kind of game for sure where and this is what I started doing at like the back end of it, where I just stopped caring. But like it's the kind of game where when you just go to the wiki and you look up what happens, it's like pretty fucking cool. The like extreme broad scope story that's going on is pretty cool, and there's like some cool stuff that happens that like draws your attention for sure. But all of that is sandwiched with hour-long scenes about them talking about their favorite kind of toast, and it was just so egregiously boring to me for the vast majority of this.
Yeah, I do agree.
I think it is for even in the broader community. It's kind of like a meme, actually, where whenever people talk about Nasi's writing, like people will just recommend that if they start talking about food, you can just turn your brain off. Like that is actually a common sentiment.
Yeah, it's like I've read all of the Song of Ice and Fire books, and people give George R.R. Martin shit for how in depth he describes food. Get it, haha, because he's a large man. But that shit doesn't even hold a candle to the amount of time they spend on it in this game.
I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like you could probably read the majority of A Song of Ice and Fire before you could finish all 3 routes plus whatever extras are in this game. Like this shit is long. Like
Yeah,
ridiculously long.
yeah. There's just something strange about it too. After like I replayed it the second time, because normally when something's like really lengthy like this, usually like another complaint that is staple to it is like purple prose. But the prose in this game isn't purple. It's just a
No.
fuck ton of simple prose, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's better or worse, but whatever it is, it's not good.
Yeah,
I think it's just a very clear case to me of like I don't even know if this person had an editor, but if they have an editor, they need to fire that person because it's the entire thing I was talking about off the rip with this game, where every single thing gets explained like 5 or 6 times, and if I have to hear, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Shiryu? If I have to hear
Shiro.
him, Shihiro. If I have to hear him say, "Huh? Noble phantasms" one more time and then have Rin explain it again, I'm gonna lose my mind.
There was actually one part like not near the end of the game. It was more like 60, 70% through where I really thought of you guys. Where it was like she was teaching Shiro about projection magecraft, and then there was a dialogue choice prompt that comes up, and one of the choices said, "Please teach me more about projection magecraft." And then I thought of you guys, like I know none of y'all clicked that shit, so I clicked it just so I could read it. And to her credit, she does give new, interesting information about projection magecraft, but she does so after restating the entire lecture that she delivered literally less than a minute ago.
Oh
And
my
it's
Jesus.
and I say restate specifically. I didn't say resummarize because resummarize means like different words were used, but it's like the same exact sentences exactly again.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous because yeah, I mean what Seth said was basically what was in my mind in the beginning part of this discussion where um whatever editor this guy has like needed to chop off, like I'm not even kidding, maybe 50% of the word count of this game, if not more. And that's that's bad.
Yeah. So I'm actually not even sure if they had an editor. I'm sure they did, but like the original 2004 production, it was like it was basically like a Dojin Circle production where they sold the game at like comic kits. Like it wasn't like a big thing, like a real professional thing. So I don't even know if they had like the type of manpower to like have an actual team
Well, I
like
mean,
going through this game.
I have no context for because so 2004 Type Moon. The only other thing I can think of that they may have released before then
Tsukihime.
yeah, Tsukihime. That's the only thing. So like I can't imagine they were like a tiny company, right? Like they had like it wasn't just 2 dudes that made this game. It was like a team of presumably maybe 5+ people.
Yeah, but it's still on like like a Dojin budget. Like I don't know. I'm also not really into that culture, so I'm not sure like what kind of resources they had. But regardless, I don't like when they brought it into the remastered state. I think that they really stuck to the word remastered and didn't like really change anything at all, for better or for worse. And in y'all's case is probably much worse.
I mean I get not editing out the remaster like that makes sense to me. I think that would just piss people off. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if we don't give off any like credit for like not changing anything and being released in 2025, I think that it's the same thing for this game. Like they could have, this game could be the same thing with 40,000 words. I feel like I would have a much better experience if it was 112. What is that? 1/20th of the words that are actually in this game. So, I mean, yeah, just because they wanted to keep the shit the same doesn't mean I'm any less mad about it.
Yeah, I
The
mean, what's like
2004 one, sure, but the 2024 one, that's inexcusable.
Yeah, well, so like two things there. So number one, I think the main issue that I took with off was it went from free game to $15 game. Like I don't know what this game cost, but I assume it was more than $0. So I'm willing to grant it a little more grace than I granted off in that respect. But yeah, I mean the like commonly cited figure for the word count of this game, what is it, like 800,000? It's like near or more than the fucking King James Bible, which is a collection of like 30 books. It's fucking ridiculous.
I think it's all 3 Lord of the Rings books combined. I think those are like 750,000, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this game is definitely like it's low to mid eights for sure.
Yeah, it's just too much when you're not really saying much because like
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like maybe there are people in Japan that do really like love the idea of getting attached to their characters like favorite way of eating eggs, or like if they can actually like shoot a bullseye with an arrow or whatever the fuck, but I don't think that adds anything meaningful to the characters, and yeah, fucking 15 hours worth of that is just painful.
Even if it did, you could do it in 1/50th of the words that they do.
Yeah, it's like you need to go in one of two directions. Either be brief with it or like do something with it. Like if you're going to spend the amount of time on it that this game does, then make it so like for example, you have to like really pay attention to what Sakura or Rin like, and then there's choices in the game that affect your approval with them or whatever, and like that matters later on. But the game never does that. It is literally just busy reading. I don't know.
Character building.
I guess the way that I see it is, um, I think I'm willing to forgive a certain amount of like corny anime shit, like as a person who has enjoyed anime for the majority of the years I've been alive, I guess. Um, but like, what's the one thing people always bitch about when they're watching like their shonen slop anime? It's fucking filler, right? Most of the time filler exists because the anime catches up to the manga and they just have to like kill time while the manga gets ahead and they can write in the story arcs, right? This game did not have a manga to catch up to. They just this willingly included the filler and a shitload of it.
And another thing that was bothering me with that too, because I brought up the Song of Ice and Fire example earlier. At least in Song of Ice and Fire, I'm reading about like medieval food. It's like unique. It can tell you a little bit about this like fantasy setting that they're in. The people in this game are just eating like standard Japanese cuisine. Like, yeah, I'm not Japanese, so I guess it's exotic, but like it's not special. It's not telling me anything.
Yeah, it's very unnecessary for the most part. Like I guess you can argue that it helps build Shiro's character in that he's diligent and self-sufficient because he has to because he was orphaned, but like you don't need like you could just do that with much less of the filler. Just maybe even like
Yeah.
just only one bit of it and you can just drag it home or two.
Yeah, I can tell you straight up, I got that sense the second he said that he wakes up at 5 a.m.
Speaking of Shiro, I think we're probably all in agreement that we have fairly negative opinions of him as a character.
He's terrible.
Yeah, he's absolutely insufferable. I feel like people have been dunking on Shiro for like 20 years now.
Speaking as someone that does have like kind of step into the broader community at times, I think that he's actually well liked for some reason, which has always been at odds with how I felt about him. Like I've always never liked him because I even remember Thomas back when I recommended that you watch the UB dub anime. I was like, I was like forewarning you that for the first 80 or like 85% of the show, you're gonna hate the main character because he's just fucking insufferable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember watching the 2007 anime like as it was airing in Japan week to week, and even then I fucking hated Shiro. So I guess
Yeah,
I have no idea what the broader community consensus is because I'm not in that community. But I remember like the people that I would watch and talk about anime with back then would shit on him. So I guess that's just my own lived experience.
yeah, like if the community does like him, I would really like to know why. I I don't know. He just seemed like a misogynist, idealist simp through for like the entire game, and that never really changed in any way that I felt.
Yeah, I agree. Cause like I remember I looked through the notes that you wrote, Seth, and you wrote something about like how you relished in his suffering, and I felt the same way. I especially loved the moments in the first route specifically where Archer just talks shit straight to his face. Like people say that Shiro's supposed to be the self-insert, but like I relate a lot more with Archer just talking shit to him. Those are just like my favorite parts of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I think Archer might be like my favorite character, at least out of like the non-evil people. And it's such a shame that he's just like tossed to the side after the prologue. I
Yeah,
assume there's more of him later, but yeah.
yeah. So that's another thing that you wrote about where like you were wondering why the prologue exists. And speaking as someone that knows everything about the story and knows about all the routes, the entire prologue was just foreshadowing for the second route.
Yeah.
Basically, anytime Archer was on the screen or said something, it was foreshadowing for the second route. Like, and it's really unfortunate because, like, in the prologue, I remember reading about how Archer would talk about reality marbles, which are basically domain expansion before there was domain expansion. And if you're playing for the first time and you know about that, and you're like, maybe that will come up and that'd be cool. And then you play through the first route and there's
It
none of
never
that, no reality
happens.
marbles, and
Yeah.
you're like, what the fuck? So literally, just having that stuff in the prologue is only for people like me that already are fans. So it feels kind of like
Yeah.
wasted a little bit. And there's like a bunch of those moments throughout this game that are just like just nods for people like me to like see how they reference the future routes. Like just off the top of my head, there's like Sakura. She's like bruises on the back of her hand, and it's just used as like a real quick like plot contrivance to get you to hate Shinji. But then after the story goes past that, it like never comes back up. And then there's also Rin's pendant, which they focus on a lot at the beginning, and then it just never becomes important ever again. And it's stuff like that that just kind of bothers me about this first route where like because I know about how all the routes are, I know that they all build on top of each other in like a really cool way, but that's a structural problem for the first route because it has to serve as the foundation for the other routes
Yeah.
through all the world building and exposition it has to do, and it kind of just collapses under that weight in my estimation.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
like I found myself asking what was the prologue for several times, like when I was like a dozen hours in or so. And the biggest issue that I have with it is maybe kind of a broader issue, but I thought it was kind of cool. You get to the end of the prologue and you just think that like Rin fucking dies, and it's to like someone that you find out is going to be like one of the main characters, Saber, and like that's pretty cool. That's a good prologue. That's like a I keep doing the Song of Ice and Fire thing, but it's like a George R.R. Martin prologue. Like your point of view character dies, and then you move into like the main character. It's cool. It works. And so when you get to that point after Fate officially begins and she doesn't actually die, well, that kind of just removed all of the tension. And that feeling of plot armor only continued because it happened again when Shinji is activating the whatever the fuck magic circles in the school, and it's like melting everyone. And it's like fucking cool. He's like mega evil now. He's talking about how like Fuji was trying to crawl up to him and he just kicked her in the head. Like, oh, that's great. And then nothing happens. She's alive at
Yeah,
the
they just
end.
get
There's
hospitalized
no,
basically.
yeah, there's like no consequences. At the bare minimum, felt in Fate. I also thought it was dumb, kind of tertiary to that we don't visit Fuji like in the hospital afterwards. Like this fucking person that's been cooking him for every night for however long. I thought that was kind of weird, but
What do you mean? Why is he gonna visit her in the hospital? Motherfucker's got rice to eat. That's the
what
scenes we
rice?
gotta see.
Yeah, the cooking and yeah, like speaking of the excessive filler, I'm just going to assume that you guys felt the same way, but like there was a whole section of this first route that I kind of like blocked out of my mind, kind of like Final Fantasy 16 and Ultima, where I just didn't remember that he was like in the ending, basically, where after Berserker gets killed and Ilya gets sheltered by Shiro. I forgot about that whole section, but like the whole time when Ilya was interacting with Shiro, like it was just like physically cringy for me, like just like really uncomfortable.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like if I found out that someone liked that section, I would actually just start to look at them differently, I think.
Are you talking about the part where she kidnaps the character, or when
No,
he
but
takes her
that
in?
part too to a lesser extent, but I'm talking about when he takes her in.
Yeah, both of those were very strange.
Yeah, very Japanese,
Yeah,
for lack of
very
a
true.
better term.
If you know, you know. Yeah, I had in my notes, kind of going back to what you said earlier, Ben, that like I'm not as like familiar with the like structure of the story of the visual novel as a whole, but it's crazy to me to go through Fate while at the same time knowing Unlimited Blade Works exists and like how much better it is than Fate. So like I was just sitting here thinking like holy shit, I wish that there was like a way that Unlimited Blade Works was just made into like the first story, or if they I mean, I know that this kind of happened with the anime, but like if they blended Fate and Unlimited Blade Works together somehow. But yeah, it's crazy how much worse Fate is than UBW IMO.
Yeah, I think most people agree for the most part.
A lot of the Steam reviews only talk about UBW, so yeah. I was looking through, I was just like, Jesus Christ, that's all people are talking about.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it makes sense.
it's like where the fucking it's like where the Expedition 33 plot twist is, you know, like the major like fucking reveal to some degree anyway. A
Yeah.
major reveal.
Yeah, and speaking of which, like even like earlier in this discussion, like Seth, you were talking about like how you think Archer might be like one of your favorite characters, and like the way that you trigger the UBW route is at the end of like the retelling of the prologue. You might remember that there was like a choice that you get, but there was only one choice. You get a second choice where you can use a command spell to keep Saber from injuring Archer, and the fact that he doesn't get injured and gets to stay in the story basically just changes like the entire dynamic of the story, and you get a lot more of him, and it's really cool. But unfortunately, that is not the case in the Fate route.
Yeah, because Archer basically exits the story because he's got to go fucking nurse his shit after the prologue, which is why Rin feels like a pretty useless character, all things considered.
Yeah, basically, she's like Yoda.
In fact, you know what? The Tosakas are like the most pathetic family of all time IMO. Like they've been at this shit for hundreds of years and they've never won the fucking Holy Grail War. At least it's implied in a line that Rin says somewhere. And then Rin goes to do her fucking like summoning ritual and she really wants to get a saber, which she like construes as the most powerful servant or whatever. And she ends up getting owned by daylight savings time. How fucking stupid is this family?
Japan do daylight savings time?
I have no idea.
All I can tell you is she literally says that the clock moved an hour that day, and that's why like she fucked up the summoning, which I assumed must mean that they have daylight savings time.
Yeah. Think about it until now.
I wanted to get your guys' feelings on this game's like route system and the choices and how it affects the story, because I feel like I need to be talked down pretty heavily from how much I hate it.
It's not the best system. Like, it's just so weird. And it was probably much worse than the original, which I never played, but it didn't have the flowchart that the remastered version has. So if that situation comes up like what you ran into, Seth, where you didn't have enough affinity points because you weren't aware that there were dating sim mechanics, if you didn't have like a bunch of saves at pivotal moments of choices that you have to make, you just had to start the game over from scratch, and that would just be fucking abject misery.
Yeah.
All right, I have two thoughts that I have to respond to that with. Number one is that that's fucking awful, and the 2004 game I wish did not become the influence that it did as a result of that. And number two is this is the best remaster ever made.
Wait, why is it the best remaster ever made?
It adds the flowchart.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. It is pretty impactful in terms of quality of life. That is basically the only quality of life that was added, but yeah, it'd be fucking horrible without that. Because, like, without the flowchart and seeing, like, the little heart icons, like, I guess if you played the original, the only way you'd even know about that is if you, like, looked up a guide. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only place where you
Yeah.
can, like, get the point totals.
Play it again, bitch.
I feel
Figure
like
it
there's
out.
no. I feel like there's no indication that you like need to build your relationship with Saber. Like, am I wrong
There
in that?
isn't. Yeah, there's no feedback at all. Because that also caught me by surprise the first time I played the game, because I ran into the same exact issue where I didn't have enough affinity with Saber, and I just had to go into the flowchart and just do it, just make the choices real quick, and then just speed back to where I was.
Yeah, and it's like if you want to give me like a descending path of like worse and worse things that are going to happen to these characters as a result of my choices, that's fine. Like you could just straight up have the main character be fucking mega tortured at the end of the game until the end of time, as long as everything builds there and the story ends in like a semi-satisfying way there, even if it's like a bad ending. But the fact that most of these endings just end with the literal like dead end text in the bottom right, I'm like, why have you done this? Why did you make it a choice? I am just frustrated now.
Yeah, and just be glad that you're not a completionist. Unless you are, then this game would be horrible. Because I think, like, to get like achievement completion, you have to obtain all of the Tiger Dojo scenes.
Ew. That
I
was like
don't
the
want to
worst
know the
part.
kind of person that's 100% of this.
That shit was so annoying.
Yeah,
I never even.
I agree.
I still haven't said yes to like when it's like, do you want a hint? I'm like, fuck you. I still don't know what that does when you say yes on that screen.
It just shows like a little comedy skit that explains real quick, like why you died and what you should do to not do it, which
Yeah.
is kind of pointless because it always boils down to you just make
You picked
the
the
other
wrong
choice
thing.
that you didn't make.
Be
That's why I
more
always
of a
said no,
simp
'cause
for
I was-
Saber.
It just felt super fucking like patronizing to be like, do you want a hint? Go pick the other option that we're about to go put you at.
I'll be honest, the route stuff didn't bother me too much because I had I don't know. I felt like I picked up on the vibe of the choices that the game wanted me to pick really fast, and I never made a wrong decision other than when I just wanted to see what would happen when I did. So it never really bugged me too much. Like I don't even know what happens. Like do you just go back in the flowchart to like the
Yep.
choice point or whatever?
So if
Yep.
you do view the, well, I guess yeah, you could manually do that. But if you watch the Tiger Dojo at the end of each Tiger Dojo scene, they just give you a prompt that says "Go back to the last decision point" and just sends you there immediately.
I see.
Yeah, and if you say no, like I don't want a hint, it just puts you right at the dialogue option that you fucked up.
Yeah, it felt like if you just picked every like cowardly shithead dialogue choice and made sure that you did right by Saber, you were gonna get through everything just fine.
Dude, imagine that's your like your modus operandi for playing through the game, and then you get to the end where I'm pretty sure to like get the good ending, you have to go down the stairs, even though main character is telling you like, "Oh, my danger sense is going off. I've never felt more like more of an oppressive atmosphere than right now." But you do what you've been doing and play it safe, and that's how you lose at the very end of the game with no flowchart feature.
Oh yeah,
God.
yeah. If you're playing the 2004 original, yeah, that's like, man, the people back then, those hikikomoris that bought this game must have been built like way fucking different from us, because like I would not tolerate that.
I'm pretty sure like if my very loose, not very good memory of visual novels like from that kind of general area is intact, the speed at which you can skip through shit is like fucking hyper light speed. So you
Yeah,
could probably
it
get
is the
back to it
same.
decently quick.
Yeah,
But
that's true, but
still,
it's
still.
yeah,
Does this game have like a hold start, skip text extremely fast thing?
yeah. I think it's
It
a
Okay.
default
does.
setting.
You can only do it through text you've already seen, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that really bugged me? I really, like, once I discovered the auto mode 1.3, it really alleviated, like, a lot of the pain of having to suffer through the visual novel medium. But I really wish that it didn't fast forward the actual spoken dialogue, because I felt like 1.3 was like right at the speed that I felt pretty comfortable like reading and comprehending. But I really hated how it fucking chipmunked all the voice actors, because I thought the voice acting in this game, like by and large, is pretty good. It's not like 10 out of 10 outstanding, but it's not bad either. It clears the Chaos Wars bar, let's say.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
guess.
there a option to normalize the spoken word?
Oh fuck, was there? If there was,
I
I
didn't
missed
see
it.
it.
I
'Cause I never
didn't
used
mess
the
with
auto
it.
option, so I don't know, but you might be right. Regardless, like, I'm just trying to think of it from, like, a technical game dev perspective where, like, if you sped it up, like, would it just get out of sync with the spoken dialogue? I'm not actually sure.
No, because the way it works is it just pauses when the audio, like when a voiceover line plays, it doesn't continue. Like it pauses until the audio dialogue is read by the like voice actor audio file or whatever. That's a real shit explanation, but I think it makes sense.
No, it does make sense, and it because I'm just going to assume that that is how it works because you experienced it. It does seem pretty silly that they didn't do that, and it just feels like kind of lazy programming, maybe, where they just sped up the whole game universally as opposed to just making everything fast, but the audio. Was the music also in fast forward? Like,
No.
Not that I remember. Match autoplay speed to fuck. All right, I did miss that. That would have been nice. It was a minor gripe,
Rip.
but
I don't know the way you describe it.
fuck.
I don't think I would consider it a minor gripe. That would just be pretty like miserable.
Why is that not on by default?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I have that on, but I think I just always had that on. I didn't even pay attention to it because I never actually used autoplay ever.
I mean, I will say, I mean, I haven't played a lot of visual novels, but I was pretty happy with like the amount of customization you can do with everything, like from a UI perspective or like a UX accessibility thing. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of that part of the remastered part of it in general. Where just like I'm just a big fan of like the way that the UIs and the menus look and all the accessibility features in the audio section and stuff like that, where you can like control the speed of everything. Although I think there was a little bit too much granularity, and it also became a problem because like I mentioned back when we first started playing this game that like you should go into the options and set Shiro to be unmuted because the Japanese love their self inserts to be muted. But the thing is, like, you can't actually change those individual people's voices, like their settings, until you've met them in the game, which I think is ridiculous. I think you should just be able to set those like at any time, or just not have the option at all, and just not mute him by default.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's definitely weird.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the UI stuff is pretty good, other than that being a little bit annoying. One thing I did hate in this game was the sound effects. Like, if I ever
Oh, yeah.
hear that
Oh,
fucking
true.
clock in Rin's house, ever like that
Yeah.
that shit is gonna give me PTSD every time I hear it.
I think it was during the when the whole party is fighting Berserker, there were a bunch of like metal clashing sound effects, and my head just went to the meme Berserk sound effect. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's just a big problem with clocks in general. Like, and I know you guys had mentioned this before in the Discord, but like the part in the prologue where Rin's trying to not wake up, even though like the fucking alarm is just blaring the whole time, and you just have to sit there and listen to it until you
Oh,
get
Yeah.
through all the dialogue.
Yeah.
So annoying. Oh my god.
Misophonia.
Yeah, if you want to do a bit like that, it has to be like a funny alarm clock, like how the phone in Pokemon is like ring, 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 phone call. It has to be something like that. It can't just be like for like 5 minutes.
God, it wasn't even that. It was just like a fucking
Yeah.
like crazy bell. Just
Yeah. I can't do a bell. I just wanted to give an example of don't make it fucking
Yeah.
annoying, make it funny.
Fucking awful.
Yeah, I think something about this game is like there's visual novels and then there's this game, which is like there's nothing. Because like
Yeah, there-
Phoenix Wright is a game where it's like it's a visual novel, but like you still kind of do shit, or like even newer games like AI: The Somnium Files or like Danganronpa or like all of these games, like usually it's some kind of like escape the room visual novel hybrid, but like this game is just like there couldn't be less gameplay.
There actually could be less gameplay.
I don't what game has less gameplay than this?
So there's another game that these guys made it called Mihoyo that I actually bought. I think it was like $49.99. It's called I forgot what it's called in American, but I always call it Mihoyo because it's easier. But that game has no dialogue choices. It's just the novel.
I mean, that's borderline. It's like it is like a step up, but I mean, we're still talking like
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the same shit.
Fate's Day Night is pretty close to approaching there's like sometimes no choices in a day. I don't think there's any days that have more than 2 choices, and each day is like hours long.
Yeah.
Were the 8 scenes mini games or were they just scenes?
Oh God.
I don't know if either Ben or I have played it
Wait,
to
what
that
scenes?
degree.
The
fucking
H game
scenes.
version.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never actually seen them before. I've only ever seen the meme screenshot of Rin's defenseless anus, and that's it. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, and the only thing I know about it is like um the like plot contrivance, right? It's after Saber gets bodied by Berserker and she needs to recharge her mana, and what do you know? The fastest way to recharge mana is to exchange bodily fluids. Like literally, that's I think what the game says.
It's called mana transfer.
Yeah, so you're transferring your cum into Saber, and for whatever reason, Tosaka decides she wants to join in because why not just make it a threesome? So very very contrived. Although I was thinking about it today, and God help me, God forgive me for I have sinned, but I was thinking about it a little bit, and I was like, like really, it's not like this game was like loaded with sex scenes, right? Like I think there's like one per route. I have no idea, but that sounds right.
I think that is correct. There's just one per route, and for what it's worth, at least in the remaster, I actually did like the Saber quote unquote sex scene mostly because it ends with Shiro getting eaten by a fucking dragon.
What the?
But the way I was thinking about it, right, is one sex scene per like 20 hours. Like it's not like we call a movie a porn game because it has a sex scene, right? Now, granted, I know most movies don't have straight up cum shots, but like, I don't know. Maybe it gets too much. Maybe I've shit on it too much for being an egregious H game when really 3 sex scenes in like a 100-hour game is forgivable.
I don't think it's enough.
15-year-olds, Donnie.
Yeah, maybe specifically related to Saber because she's hundreds of years old, I suppose.
35, isn't she?
Yeah, I think servants are summoned in the prime of their life, and I think she was 35, but through a contrivance of the Excalibur sword giving her eternal youth, she stopped aging when she touched it, which was at 15, or whenever she was No, that was a different sword.
Why?
Caliburn was the sword she pulled out of the stone, and Excalibur was given to her by the fairies of the lake, and that's when she stopped aging. So that's like how they explain that.
Nippon, why? You could have chosen any age.
It's the same thing like with Elia, right? Like technically Elia is 18. I'm doing like bunny quotes with my fingers right now, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that in particular is just like
Joke City.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's just intentional irony by the author because, like, come on, dude.
That one is actually somewhat saved by the fact that there is no sex scene.
There is no route. Yeah, I don't know if there was like a planned route and it was scrapped, but thankfully there just is no route for Ilya.
That would be insane.
Oh, I want to die.
All right, I've got a hot take.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
The story of this game is literally the same thing as Expedition 33. They have the same story. Same plot, let's say. Structure.
You're only saying for Fate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be because the other routes are actually significantly different in terms of like
Yeah.
what happens in them. And I didn't actually think about it all that long, but I'm just gonna take your word for it because like I don't have the brain power to like figure that all out.
So check
Yeah,
this out.
for fear of more Claire Expedition 33 spoilers in the intro, yeah, you are gonna need to expand on that.
So, first of all, both games start with a false quest, right? In this game, you're told that the Holy Grail is going to give you a wish. In Expedition 33, you're setting out to stop the Gommage, right? You have red herring villains. So in Faith Stay Night, it's just like basically the other servants and masters, right? And in Expedition 33, it's the Paintress. You eventually have like a plot twist that reveals the real antagonist, which is like I guess you would say Renoir in Expedition 33 and Kide Kotomine in this game. You end up having some like earth-shattering reveal, such that the Holy Grail isn't some like noble prize-giving relic. It's just like full of curses. It's gonna fuck up the world or whatever. And in Expedition 33, the world's just not real. Period. And then the real cement that got me thinking about this is the ending. So Saber is on this like self-destructive path to try and redeem herself because of like her past and blah blah blah. So like she is literally on a quest to basically erase herself from existence. Sound like someone you know from Expedition 33? Kinda does. She ends up basically taking like the self-gratifying path because she falls in love with Shiro and whatever. Uh, and again, that just like completely mirrors Expedition 33, right? Like you have characters that are on this self-destructive path that can choose self-gratification or like basically total erasure. The difference is Expedition 33 looks at it with a lot more tragedy, obviously. Like this game is a
Yeah.
romantic fantasy, like about Saber who is like facing an impossible choice and ends up basically getting like fucking infatuated with an idealistic cuck. Whereas again, Expedition 33 is just a tragic hero, again damned with an impossible choice, but he never gets presented the option of the idealistic cuck. I guess it's kind of stripped away from him by Mael, but very similar. Very similar.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it does make sense.
I feel like I see the Saber Verso comparison, but I don't see a whole lot past that other than like extreme broad scope, like Hero's Fable story, I guess.
Yeah, all I can think about is like I remember seeing this like stand-up comedian do this like drawn out joke about how Harry Potter is basically the same thing as Star Wars, and that's what it made me think of. Although, it does make me think of. I guess the main difference that I can think of between Expedition 33 and Saber ending is that like the Expedition 33 ending involves a bunch of characters that I'm either indifferent to or actively dislike because I just don't like the Dissandras, except for Verso. He's the only one that I like. In Saber, I like everyone involved except for Shiro, but like he doesn't really get like the outcome of the ending that's satisfying to me doesn't really involve him, so I don't really care that he's there.
I mean, I think what you're saying there again about Shiro is just like I feel like it affects me more maybe that the main character is just such a boring piece of shit. Like I just I can't get uh I can't get attached to like any character in the entire thing because everyone is centered around him. That's kind of a problem with harem anime in general. Is like if you don't like the main character, you're probably not going to like anyone else because why the hell are all these characters flocking to him?
Yeah, exactly. Like it just doesn't make sense that especially someone like Rin would like him. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
seem like the complete like there's just no like I know that she's like the original Tsundere, but still like it's Shiro. Like this dude's a fucking chump. He just he's annoying.
He's basically like a fucking janitor who just has like all
Yeah.
of these women taking care of him for some strange reason.
yeah. Ben mentioned the word hikikomori earlier, and that just put it together that, yeah, this is just a hikikomori fantasy because you're just he's just an orphan living by himself that has all these women coming to help him live.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to some of the issues that I just take with the narrative of this game, like period. Like even if I throw out, because I do kind of mentally throw out all of the filler shit and just focus on like the major plot beats. The thing about this game that does kind of drive me crazy is how flat every character arc is. Like Shiro is just a fucking he's just like an immovable object. He's like the same person from point A to point B like the entire time. He's just like this personified ideal of I just want to save people. I want to save people as much as I can. And like throughout the story, he doesn't like learn anything. He just proves that he can do it, and that's I don't know. It's not a compelling character. Saber is the uh, I guess the counter argument to most of the characters being flat because she isn't. But yeah, it's with Shiro, it's fucking egregious.
I think related to that, something that really bothers me in a lot of this style of thing, even if you think of something like maybe Batman, for example, like characters who vow not to kill, it's such a fucking cop out when there's someone they clearly want to kill, they're about to kill him, maybe they hurt him a little bit, and then someone else comes and kills them because they couldn't like do it or whatever. I'm thinking of Shinji in this exact case where like
Oh yeah.
breaks his fucking arm, like ready to kill him. He's bloodlusted, starts chasing after him. Oh, and there's Ilya right there to do the job. You just missed out on a great scene that could have expanded this character. Why? Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say to give this game like a very hefty dose of benefit of the doubt is I know what happens in Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel. So like there is character development. It's just you get none in the first 20 hours of this game, which is not very satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess the first two routes are mildly similar, at least tonally, but like the third route is like, it's a lot darker, and it's like I've
Yeah.
never played Doki Doki Literature Club, but when the guy that made that game says that he was inspired by Fate Stay Night, I imagine he's probably talking about the third route.
Yeah, 100%. Not close.
That
Does
being
the
said, it's not
anime show the
relevant.
third route?
Um, the
I
anime,
don't
well,
think
there's
so. There's a
there's a couple
movie,
different
right?
ones. Yeah, so the only one that has an anime, well, we don't talk about Dean Stay Night, but the main one when people talk about the anime is Unlimited Blade Works, and then Heaven's Feel I think has 3 movies.
The
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah, the 2007 anime is a piece of crap. Make sure you don't watch that. They did like this weird thing where they tried to blend. I don't know if it was all three routes or just
It
the first two
was
routes.
it
Yeah,
was all 3.
yeah, it doesn't work, and also there's no production value. But they call Unlimited Blade Works Unlimited Budget Works for a reason because that shit looks fucking amazing. Even like what 10 years later now, and the Heaven's Feel movies were made by the same studio, and they're very
Yeah.
good.
I think they also made Demon Slayer, right? Like the anime adaptation. I'm not sure because I never watched it. But the only reason why I even know that is because I read like I didn't read it, but I read about like a Japanese interview where like it was kind of implied that Kinoko Nasu was like one of the big reasons why there was an anime adaptation of Demon Slayer because he works like he has a lot of close relations with UFO Table, or I don't know how you pronounce that studio, but they're the guys that made Unlimited Blade Works, the anime, and I think they also did Demon Slayer. And basically, what happened was like one day Kinoko Nasu was like, I like this Demon Slayer manga, make it an anime. And then they were like, okay. And then they did.
They became like a fucking billion-dollar company afterwards,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So is the
Aren't
Unlimited
they?
Blade Works anime? Does that not talk about the Fate route at all?
Wait, sorry, would you repeat that?
The Unlimited Blade Works anime, does that not touch on the Fate route at all?
It touches a little bit on the character development of Shiro and Saber, but for the most part, it's a pretty faithful reproduction of specifically just UBW.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
You
You
are
would
gonna,
you would benefit from going into it knowing about the Fate route, but it doesn't rely on it.
There is still filler.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Isn't UFO Table making a Genshin Impact anime? I feel like I read that.
Yeah, but it's been delayed, I think, for like forever.
Classic.
How did you guys feel about the like general concept of the Holy Grail War and like the summoning of ancient heroes? Specifically, like the question that I have written down. Did you guys feel like it was or the characters themselves were appropriately inspired by the legends of like who they are? Like what are the vibes on that? I'm kind of mixed on it, so I was curious to ask you guys.
I guess regardless of how I feel about it personally, I do kind of like it, but like I think it is a pretty big part of why Fate exploded in popularity.
Yeah,
Because if
definitely.
you look at something like Fate Grand Order, where they take that concept to the extreme, where like it's like that game, that live service game has been going on for 10 years, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have so many different mythologies and historical figures to borrow from that they can just like make people fanboy over new servants all the time, and like people from different countries get excited when there's a new servant from their country's mythology and history and stuff like that. As for how I feel about it personally, I think it's okay. Um, I don't think it's like the maybe it was like a lot more novel in 2004, but like I haven't really watched a lot of anime, so I don't know how many times it's been cribbed over and over again. But what I do know that's a little interesting factoid is that I think that when they made Fate Stay Night, they actually wanted a female protagonist that would summon the actual Arthur Pendragon, but they reworked it because they wanted to actually sell copies. But they didn't let that idea die because they later on made like a little animated short called Fate Prototype where they do have that the actual Arthur Pendragon getting summoned, and then he goes and fights Gilgamesh. I think it's actually pretty cool. I've only read about it, but yeah, I just wanted to like, just put that out there just because I thought it's like a cool little fact that's related to what you just asked.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess, I imagine like, just pure pulling shit out of my ass, wild ass guess that if that was with the direction they were going to go originally, I bet that character just evolved into Rin more than likely.
Yeah,
But as far as like the historical figure stuff goes, I think it's a really cool idea. Um, kind of, I wouldn't even say clumsily executed, um, because it doesn't really like add anything. Like if you stripped it away, like what does Saber being King Arthur really do? What does Berserker being Hercules really do? Like if that aspect of the story was just like ripped away, it really wouldn't change much in my eyes because like they obviously take a lot of creative liberties with these historical figures to the point that they're pretty unrecognizable even from the mythology in most cases. So I think it's a really cool idea. It was really fun watching the anime when it first released because like I knew nothing about the visual novel. I was watching it with people that knew nothing about the visual novel, so like trying to guess what figures all the characters were week to week was that was a fun experience that I look back on fondly. But after playing this game again, it's like, yeah, what does it really do?
yeah, it's pretty much just for coolness factor because, as I
Yeah.
said, like functionally in terms of like this game story specifically, it doesn't really change anything. It's just pretty much for the coolness factor, and that's really about it.
Yeah. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like a missed opportunity to the point that I hope the future stuff does a better job with it. Or future stuff meaning like Heaven's Feel and Unlimited Blade Works and such. Um, yeah, like it's a really cool idea, and you could do a lot with it. And this game doesn't. Like it feels like they started uh, started with the Fate character and then fit another historical figure around it in most cases. Like they created the character for the class and then they created what heroic spirit would be this class, and that just feels kind of lame. Like it would be cooler if you were like, okay, I really want to make this story about fucking Zeus, and we'll put that in and build all of that around him, but it's in the opposite way, and that just made it boring.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of has some of that Hades feel of like why write good characters when you can just steal pre-existing ones. I think that's kind of partially it.
Yeah, I think so.
like that's like part of the issue is like most of the coolness of these characters comes from the idea of who they are,
Exactly.
right? Like Berserker, he just hits people. He just hits people real hard, which can be fine. But like the reason someone might like Berserker, Hercules, and this as a character is because it's Hercules, not because it's like the character that they made. But there's
Right.
nothing that they actually put in there, so it's just leaning on all of that shit that
Yeah.
was already given to them.
I mean, the cool one is like Ryder, but yeah, even then, I still have to say it's like definitely underbaked and definitely just trying to get the mouth breathers to be like, holy shit, it's Pegasus, more than to be like, wow, they wrote a cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's just purely like rule of cool that has no like functional aspect in the plot or the story. And I think the rule of cool works enough for me because it never gets in its own way. It's just kind of like, hey, by the way, this is Medusa, and you're like, oh shit, that's fucking tight, and then you just move on with your life.
Speaking of that Pegasus scene, it was actually one of my favorite scenes in the game because
Yeah.
like I just like how they like really like tried to puff her up, like
Yeah.
having Pegasus being like so fucking dope and cool and powerful, and like how hopeless it was for the protagonist, and then Saber just fucking kamehamehas that shit into oblivion.
Yeah.
I thought like that was like one of my favorite parts.
Oh, I agree. I think all the shit was awesome.
Yeah,
Probably
I think
definitely the highlights for me.
Yeah, my favorite section was just Ryder and Shinji as villains in general.
Yeah. It might also be because Ryder's 25. That might also be why I like it.
You just
helps.
don't feel awkward when she's on the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true.
That
The character that's
that-
written closer to my age.
it's that, and it's a lot more fun when the villain of your arc is a wife beater, a sister beater, rather than your main character.
Yeah, he's just an unrepentant asshole. And I do agree with you. I remember you mentioned this before, but like it's really frustrating that like Shiro is just so close to killing him, like literally just fucking like
Yeah.
like choking him to death. And he doesn't, and it's just like whatever. I know
Yeah,
it's supposed to
it's
illustrate
like-
like the consequences later on of like letting him live, but still, like it's just frustrating that he didn't even like really hurt him either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you need to have a flaw as a character. You need your main character to have some kind of flaw typically, because that's what the point of the story. If this is a hero's journey, then what's our hero learning through to the end of it? Well, like he's learning that it might be more difficult to live up to your ideals than just saying you want to be a champion of justice, right? Like I think that like Saber learned that the hard way. She's fucking Arthur Pendragon, like she fucking conquered villages and shit. So I feel like there were never any hard conversations about what you have to do to live up to your ideals. If there were, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was pretty checked out by the end of it. But yeah, it's just such a huge missed opportunity for me that he didn't kill Shinji there.
There was a little bit in like some of like the excessive monologuing, but like it was just surrounded by so much other monologuing that like it just doesn't seem that important. And it matters a little bit more in the other routes, but for the most part, Shiro is just the still same hateable dude like all the time.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like it's hard for me to call this a hero's journey because like you said, he has like no flaws and nothing to learn from. All he's doing is just proving his thesis statement. Like that's not character development. That's just fucking going through the scientific method.
Yeah, it's not a hero's journey. It's Beowulf.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think my evolution for should it have been a visual novel is going to be it should have been an audiobook.
It should have been a manga. Should have been an anime.
It
Yeah.
should have been, I was also
Oh.
saying like it should have been an anime, and the
Yeah.
best parts of it is
I will
Yeah, it was
say
never
that-
a manga, right?
I don't think
I'm
there
pr-
might be spin-offs now, but back when it originally came out, I don't think so.
yeah, there probably is a manga version of it now. I know that there is for Fate Grand Order that's being worked on, but for the original, I'm sure that there has been at this point.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah, I think should have been a visual novel as well. It's like before this, I think of visual novels as like basically all the games I mentioned earlier, where it's like there's a little bit of gameplay, and then like it's mostly talking versus this, which is just literally a visual novel.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
the
like
game.
this game really slammed shut the door on the argument of should it have been a visual novel, because at this point I feel like nothing should have been a visual novel.
Exactly. Exactly. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
there's
truly a
no gameplay.
pejorative.
Like it's just a gameplay vacuum. Like
Yeah.
I think I'd mentioned before when I first chose this game that I kind of described it to you guys as like if you think about Edith Finch, this game makes Edith Finch like is like playing Dota or StarCraft
Yeah,
2. It's just
yeah.
like
Yeah,
they're like in
very
different
true.
universes.
Yeah,
And
kind of
like,
what I wrote down was the gameplay of Fate Stay Night makes Thousand Exorcist gameplay look like Mario 64. So
yeah,
Yeah,
very
for
true.
sure.
And the thing is though, like it's weird because there are visual novels I like. Like I do really like Doki Doki Literature Club, and I fucking love Slay the Princess. But I think the key factor here, there's two. Number one, at least with Slay the Princess, every single word that shows up on your screen is voice acted, and that makes a huge difference. I think if the all the inner monologuing and stuff had been turned into voice acting in this game, it would have forced them to be more concise, so they would
yeah,
have written a lot less.
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And
It's
it's
a,
No one would have
really
taken the job.
it's really just a matter of length, I think. Like Slay the Princess is like less than a 10-hour experience probably, and like that game does a lot with that time. Like that game does more with its time than this game does in 10 times the length, I feel. So it's just a matter. I think it's just a matter of conciseness and engagement. Like even beyond all of the visual novel stuff that I can't fucking stand, just like in general, I think that that's like the winning formula for a visual novel. Make it concise and find a way to make it engaging. And this game didn't.
Yeah,
do that.
I agree. Before you said your second one there, I was thinking brevity is a very important thing with this because yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club is only what a couple hours, if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's short.
Yeah,
Now, granted,
definitely.
that game is a little bit of like kind of a different beast because it's a little more like satirical and blah blah blah, but still doesn't change the fact that it's a better game than this.
This game could have been 4 hours, like I said earlier. Like it could have easily been 4 hours instead of 16, and like you would get the exact same thing out of it.
Yeah, like yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club is satirical, but like I did care about those characters. Maybe you don't in the start
Oh
before
yeah,
you realize what's going on, but they like flip that switch so hard that you kind of have to now. And like some things I will give this game is when shit starts hitting the fan, it is like pretty legitimately fucking cool. Like I didn't
Yeah.
expect the runes in the school to get activated like pretty suddenly. And it's like, oh shit, it's fucking game time. And it's the exact same thing when like Gilgamesh shows up. It's the same thing when you get to the church and there's these fucking dissolving corpses. Like all that stuff is really cool and engaging when it's happening. But the rest of the game is just
Yeah.
siphoning away all the
Yeah.
energy I have to care about it.
Exactly.
yeah, yep. Because like that's the thing with Slay the Princess, right? Is like that game is literally doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like there's really not that much gameplay to that game other than clicking dialogue options, and you click the same dialogue options like dozens of times. But it finds a way to make that interesting because there's not a lot of fat. Like I don't have to sit through 5 hours of these fucking bitches eating breakfast. And maybe that's just like coming up on my whole issue with just the visual novel medium, like period. Because like I know I mentioned it in the OneNote. In fact, what the hell did I even say in there? Like there's like three big reasons I think. One is pacing. I think one is just kind of the writing style of these Japanese visual novels is just something that doesn't really click with me, and that's just pure subjective shit, and that's fine. And then I really don't like how visual novels take my imagination out of it. I think that's actually such a huge fucking thing because like it's got to be like an all or nothing thing. I feel like because like with books I can fill in a lot with my imagination, right? Like I get words and then my brain can do the rest of the work. But in like a more visual medium, like TV, movies, games, whatever, like it's okay that my imagination gets to take a backseat because they're doing all the work for me. And that's okay. But visual novels exist in this weird space where there's like both a shit ton of words, but it's like stripping out like the show don't tell aspect because they're showing me like the bare minimum to make my imagination not have to like do reps. And it's just really really unsatisfying. There's just an aspect of it that just really takes me out of it and makes it feel very unenjoyable.
It feels a little like oxymoronic too, where like a lot of times this might be just one example, but a lot of times the coolest things they don't show you. In which case, like, why is this in a visual medium? I'm thinking specifically of like after Archer's fight with Berserker, and he's like described as just standing there with like his fucking arm half off and like a hole through his fucking chest. That would have been really cool if you animated it.
Yeah, the
But it's
problem with
not.
that specifically, I think the reason why they didn't show that fight, even though it would have been fucking badass, is because it would have probably spoiled Archer's identity, which is pretty important for the other routes.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they didn't show it. It's still
Yeah.
unfortunate that they didn't though, because it kind of implies how fucking badass Archer is.
Agreed with
Yeah.
everything you just said.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in the context of only playing Fate, it feels like a budget removal.
Yeah, it provides no value to a first time player at all, and that's how I feel about like a lot of the things in this route.
Yeah. Sounds like Fate is just kind of like it's the tutorial.
Yeah, and the only reason why I have like a higher opinion of it than you guys is because I already knew everything about Fate before I even played this game the first time, so I just thought everything was cool. But like if you're a first time player, like holy fuck, like I don't know what you get out of this route.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny for me because like my only experience with Fate was the 2007 anime. Because other than that, I've only watched Unlimited Blade Works and watched the Heaven's Feel movies. So I didn't even have like an intimate knowledge of this playthrough. But man, like maybe it's just like looking at the story in reverse, making it seem kind of fucking weird. But yeah, it's so much weaker than the rest of what comes in this story, I think. And I think it is kind of important to realize that like you are just seeing act one of what is a 3-act story in a lot of regards, but I still feel like with the way that this game's structured, it should still have a more satisfying ending
Yeah.
based on just how the game works, right?
Yeah, and
I mean, like it's just like yes, we're watching or reading Act 1 or whatever, but like you go to like any writing class, any speech class, whatever, and they're gonna tell you the hook is most important. And like I mean, I guess this had some hooks, but they just became hookers. I don't know what to say.
I feel like the
Yeah.
hook of this game's the best part. Like if you told me my story is about 7 mythological heroes being revived and adhering themselves to a human as a servant in order to fight for the Holy Grail that grants a wish but is actually a cursed object, I'd be like, fuck, sounds dope.
Yeah, but
It's all the other
if you
shit
like,
that's a problem.
but if like you tell me to go watch Breaking Bad because it's this like sick ass show about like these people cooking meth and dodging the law, and then like the first 23 episodes of the 24th season are just them like literally cooking breakfast, then I don't think I would like that show.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
what you're saying.
that's what I was about to like elaborate on. Is that like for the first route, like it does a very poor, like it does a poor job. Like it's a very tough sell to get someone who's experiencing it for the first time to labor on, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think it's just a problem of conciseness. Like, if you could get through this playthrough in 5 to 10 hours, like a third of the time, I think it becomes a much easier sell. Because like, there's nothing worse than like kind of what Seth was saying, where someone's like, "Dude, you gotta watch this TV show. Like, trust me, it gets good in season 3. You just gotta get through the first 2. Like, you're really gonna ask me to waste 25 hours of my
Yeah.
life to get to the good part? Like, go fuck yourself."
I mean, I will say, despite all of that, that you guys are hyping up Unlimited Blade Works enough that I might just watch the anime just to follow up on this and see how I feel.
I do
I mean,
recommend the anime. The anime is sweet.
Same, but I will reiterate my warning that I gave Thomas the first time. You'll still hate Shiro a fuck
Oh yeah,
ton.
he never gets better.
I feel like an anime with a good protagonist is about as rare as like digging through a cave and finding diamond.
That's fair then. Then it's just par for the course then.
Yeah, I think it's just that like self-insert problem, right? Because like they want the protagonist to be like such a blank canvas because they just like I don't know. They want you to be the one fucking Saber, not Emiya Shiro.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to get to? I have trouble talking
feel
about this
like-
game without just hate on hate.
Yeah, I
Redraw
feel
the
like we've-
faces.
Yeah.
I say
That's all
what,
I wanted
Sash?
to say. Redraw the faces.
Yeah, so yeah, Takeuchi has a very specific style. Even to this day, there's kind of like a meme, like kind of like in a mocking where he literally just draws the same face. It's called Saber Face, and every character literally has the Saber face. So, I mean, I guess the quality of his artwork's gotten better, but like that part
Yeah.
of it is still the same, where it's
I mean, it's
literally
funny.
the same.
It's funny that it's a meme that he draws the same face, but I just mean like how bad it looks. Like, because like the Steam banner, like all of the redrawn art that they did for the remaster, like looks so much better than like actually Archer in
Yeah,
game.
and
Like Saber's the only one
yeah.
that doesn't look terrible. I think that I can think of. I guess
Yeah,
Kirei looks fine,
yeah.
but there is some face like Archer's face looks fucked up.
Yeah, Archer and Gilgamesh are pretty
Mhm.
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah,
really
exactly.
bad.
I thought Lancers was the worst personally.
Yeah, Lancer's is really bad too, for sure.
It was like very shocking to me to realize that they put all this work into the remaster but didn't like redraw some of the stuff because
Mhm.
it's not like that would be like a titanic task for this game.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would think about is like, does it still follow like the remaster like protocol? I guess as opposed to being a remake. I don't know
You
if that
just
would
put
bother
both.
people.
You go
Yeah,
with
yeah,
modern
that's a
art,
good point. They
original
could,
art.
yeah, they could have put in the toggle, and they make enough money that they could do that work. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like it's like a billions-dollar fucking
Yeah.
franchise.
I mean, they
You're not even
probably
animating it. You're just drawing fucking stills. Like, come
yeah,
on.
exactly. They probably draw more art or do more art for Fate Grand Order in a month than they would have done for this game.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, now that I think about it, it is pretty inexcusable. And I guess the only reason why they wouldn't do it is because they wanted to be really strictly a remaster, even though they already threw it out the window with like all the new menus and quality of
Exactly.
life features. So you might as well just redraw the art.
I will say one thing. The faces are not good, to be clear. They're actively bad in the vast majority of circumstances. They grew on me a little bit in like a stylistic way where I could like stomach it, even if I could still acknowledge they weren't good. I could still just like acknowledge it. The thing that I could not acknowledge as being good is when the characters have their mouths open and it's a white void.
Hmm.
That really bothered me.
That was
I saw
pretty
it-
fucking weird.
I saw you write that in the notes. I didn't notice it because I wasn't looking for it, but I bet if I looked for it, I'd notice it pretty quickly now that you've put it into my mind.
Yeah. Same.
Once you see it and you look at like other stuff and see how they do it by comparison, it'll really wig you out, I think.
I do think it's somewhat fair to say that you should probably like look at the art in this game with like 2004 glasses cuz like contemporarily like it was fine. Like there was nothing wrong like at the time that this game came out there was nothing wrong with the art. I don't think anyone really criticized it that I
I'm
can
like-
recall anyway.
I could say from a personal standpoint, I always thought the faces look weird. Even that's probably why like I wasn't interested when it first came out because like I've been aware of Fate forever, but I always thought the
Mhm.
faces were so fucking weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so weird because like I was thinking about something like Hollow Knight where there's a disparity between like what the characters look like in the backgrounds, and it reminded me a little bit of this game, but less extreme because like Hollow Knight is gorgeous, but like in this game, like all the background and environment effects, and even like not the faces, but like the characters' bodies look decent
Yeah.
or
Yep.
decent to good to even
Exactly.
sometimes excellent.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just like why are
It's
the
just
the
heads.
faces fucked up?
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
the most
that-
fucked up part.
That is one thing I was going to give this game credit for is that I do think it has a lot of extremely good, like borderline timeless like actual character designs. Like the designs themselves look fucking great.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Even if like with Archer, for example, or Lancer, I don't like the drawn on ab look. A lot of the character designs are really
Yeah. But like honestly, like fucking just like Saber as a character design is so fucking sick. Just like sitting there mean
Yeah.
mugging you with the hand on her fucking invisible sword hilt. Like it's fucking sick. It's dope as shit.
I agree with what Seth said, especially about Berserker. Like I don't like Berserker's design outside of his face.
Yeah,
He's got a cool
that guy's
face and a weird body.
I mean, that guy's nothing. That guy's just like a big fucking ogre. But like a lot of the other characters, Archer looks great. Tosaka looks great. Saber looks great. Um, yeah,
I think Gilgamesh is sick.
The other thing I wanted to say with regards to the like 2004 face thing is, I don't know, Thomas, maybe you know a little bit more about this since you've been watching older stuff recently, but I feel like a lot of faces in anime were not pretty until the last like 10 years or so, if that. Like some of the older animations have really weird, like you can have like the best looking animation, but like the character designs of the faces still look fucked up for some reason back then.
yeah. It's all subjective and it's all what you like. And anime has gone through so many different like stylistic choices. Like
Yeah.
you go look at something like from fucking Gundam Wing in the '80s, and then you go to Sailor Moon, and then you go to Cowboy Bebop, and then you go to fucking Naruto or this game. Like there's just a lot of it's it encompasses a lot of different styles. So it's hard to say like yeah shit looked so shit in the '90s because there's stuff that looks fucking awesome too. So
I think it's like more what Tom said though, because I think it's just like because I'm sure some people like the faces in this game, but I get because I don't think that I think people knew how to draw in the '80s, people know how to draw in the '90s, people know like I don't think the time really mattered. It's just like did you like the style? And then yeah, like there's just something really uncanny about how they look in the 2004 version of Fate
yeah.
art.
Yeah, and I mean I get that, but I can just say I guess from like my own personal experience that like I never thought it looked bad 20 years ago, but 20 years later I can definitely say like yeah, this shit looks like aged as
Sure.
fuck.
And that's another thing just between like how good are you at doing it back then, like if it's timeless or not, which I don't think that this is timeless versus something like Dragon Ball Z where Toriyama's always been good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I use the word timeless again, just the designs. not the actual
The
art.
neck down, yeah.
Yeah, when you say uncanny, Jordan, I think about that one screenshot you posted way back when we started playing this game in Discord, where it was the picture of Archer getting summoned in
Yeah.
the wrecked Tosaka like living room, and
Mhm.
like everything about that scene is so detailed, and Archer's body
Yep.
looks like brolic as shit and looks cool and like real polished, and then his face is
Yep.
there, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
It's the perfect juxtaposition, and it's one of the first screens you see in the game of like how weird the faces are compared to how sick everything else around it is.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, honestly. Honestly, they could have just gone through and done touch up on the faces and nothing else, and that's all they would have needed to do.
All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we do ratings?
I think we can wrap it up unless you guys have anything else. I don't have anything else.
Nah, I don't think I do
No, I'm
either.
good.
Well, let's just go top to bottom. Thomas, Jordan, me, Ben.
I don't really have a whole shit ton to say, honestly. Other than I really do hate the visual novel medium, and this game is like what proved that to me, I guess. Because like I was actually really excited about this game. Like I was super duper pumped. What the fuck did we play before this? Off. I was like, all I was thinking when I was playing Off was like, man, I just want to get through this fucking game so I can play Fate Stay Night. Like I was actually pumped. But God, did that excitement wane really quickly as I slogged through the visual novel medium. So, like, I sort of wish I could give this game two different scores because I feel like there are areas that this game really does excel in, and then there's just total unforgivable bullshit that I have to slog through that is just like a byproduct of its medium. So I feel like this game is like a really solid like 8 out of 10. Like, is it the best prose ever going to read? Absolutely. Did it need a very heavy-handed editor? Absolutely yes. But like when the game hit its main beats, it's fucking awesome. It's really sweet. And maybe I'm just looking at it with like anime tinted glasses because I think that it probably does a better job of distilling out the best parts of everything. But again, I do really enjoy the story. I like the characters, even though they're kind of flat, kind of meh, but they do their job. The problem with this game is that in between major story beats, I feel like I'm being fucking waterboarded. And I'm being waterboarded by this fucking 2 out of 10 visual novel medium that I just absolutely cannot stand. So it's like it's just suffering. It's so much suffering to get through the game and enjoy a story that I like, but it's just so fucking hardcore hampered. So I feel like even despite that, I'm gonna give this game a higher score than I bet you guys might have expected me to. I'm actually pretty curious, but I think this game's a solid 6.5 out of 10 because I do really like corny anime shit when it's delivered in a way that is at least tangentially enjoyable, and this game was definitely tangentially enjoyable.
That's fair.
Not at all what I expected.
Yeah, same.
I thought I went a little low.
I thought 4.5 was a little high.
I'm
Damn.
I think if I'm to be like objective about my score, I do think I'm weighing like
UBW.
the material outside of this game probably heavier than I should, but
Yeah.
I even in
That's
spite of that, I do like this story. And I'm capable of looking past how shit the visual novel medium is and just enjoying the story, which I do.
That's fair.
Jordan, all you.
The Fate Stay Night route, or the Fate Stay Night Fate route, is 50 Shades of 50 Shades of Grey, but for dudes. 2 out of 10.
Did I get it? Hold on. Yes, I got it.
I knew I should have gone down to 2. I knew I should have gone down to 2.
Oh shit! I knew I was guessing high. I guess Seth lower than Jordan. I shouldn't have.
Spoiler alert, I also guessed Seth lower than Jordan.
Spoiler alert, you guys are going to be right.
It's funny.
All right. When I was considering my score for this game, I had to start at, this was my starting point. I had to start at, why is this game not a 1 out of 10? Because I don't think it's a 1 out of 10. I really don't. I've mentioned a couple things I like. I think the accessibility is good. I think that a lot of the art assets and the character designs and overall like the story it's telling, they are good, even if I haven't seen like the future good stuff like Unlimited Blade Works and I don't have that context. Like there were moments in this game that were great. The Pegasus on top of the skyscraper, sick as fuck. Finding Kodomine in the church at the end of the game and like all of that reveal and like just generally there's like a pretty good drip feed of like story moments and beats and twists that kind of keeps you engaged through all of the slop. But there's a lot of slop. There is a lot of slop. And all of the slop is made so much worse by everything that makes this a game. Like the route system, I think, is just a complete waste of time. I didn't like it in Hello Charlotte when you would just open the wrong door and suddenly get a game over screen. The exact same thing happens in this game, except it takes you an hour of reading to get back to the point before the door killed you. And then to like triple down on that, and you get to the end of the game, and it tells you to restart from the halfway point. And Ben has said here tonight that is the fixed version for the remaster instead of just starting the game over. That is ludicrous to me. I would never. I could never play a game like that, like especially without the flowchart system. That is just crazy. And have to factor in, despite all of the things that I think were pretty good, my actual like experience and personal enjoyment of this game, because most of the things I said just don't really affect me. I didn't really need the accessibility stuff, even though it was nice that it was in there. The art assets weren't good enough, I think, to change my score too much. And there's enough to hate about this game with my perception of the main character being an extreme misogynist that I don't think this game deserves anything higher than a 1.5.
I guess slow? Oh, that's good enough.
Damn. Damn, I'm gonna be on a 0 pointer tonight because I underestimated your guys' fucking hatred for this game.
I did not have a good time.
I don't hate like the story of the game, and I think I would have enjoyed if I only read the cliff notes. It would probably be like a 7 or 8. But like, there's just too much bullshit.
There is so much bullshit.
Yeah, I guess specifically for Jordan, I figured that this shit was way too low in the gameplay density department, that the density is literally 0.
If it had no gameplay, but if it was literally 4, 5, up 6 hours long, I think I would like it a lot more. Because again, like when it does stuff, it's fucking fun and cool and like interesting, but it just doesn't do stuff enough. And that mixed with like no engaging gameplay is like the kiss of death for me.
Yeah,
I wonder
that
how
makes sense.
sensitive. I wonder how sensitive I am to that, because when I'm editing episodes for this podcast, I press Control X on large swaths of sound, and I feel like they could have done that exact same thing with most of the text in this game.
Yeah, for sure. It makes me wonder about Kinoko Nasu specifically. Is he just like really egotistical maybe and like just refuses to allow that? I don't know.
Maybe
I mean,
he
I
just
don't know.
really likes breakfast.
You're a Fate
Interesting.
Grand Order enjoyer. Is that like the same shit as in this game?
No, a Fate Grand Order is quite different from this, where like it is like very verbose, but there is no monologuing. It's more traditional like video gamey visual novel delivery where it's like RPG text boxes, you know what I mean? So there's a lot less opportunity for him to inject a bunch of internal monologues, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what this game needed for sure.
Ben, all you?
Yeah. All right. The way that I feel about this, like tashing this game, is probably maybe a little bit how Seth, how you felt about Tears of the Kingdom, where like, I mean, I guess maybe I just assumed that you really liked that game, but like, you lowered your score like mid discussion, and I feel like I lowered my score when I saw everyone's reaction to it, and it made me have to like really like look at the game with a critical eye. Whereas, like, I guess to start off with some positives, like I really do like the remastered portion of it, specifically like all the new UI and menus. I just like I put a lot of value in that kind of stuff because it's what I do for a living. So when I see it done well and implemented well, I do enjoy that a lot. And I do enjoy the overall story, but I feel like I have a high opinion of the story because I was already a Fate super fan and knew everything about it. But looking at the game with a critical eye in this playthrough, like even if the main story beats were like high points for me, the minute to minute storytelling was fucking dreadful. So I have to like I'm going to dock more points of what I think you guys would expect from someone like me. I think the Jordan grading scale is like rubbing off on me a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And I'm giving this game a 7 out of 10.
Did I get it?
Oh,
God
so
damn
far
it.
off.
How did
Oh
Seth
damn,
get
Seth
it?
nailed it.
That's fucked up.
How? What the fuck?
Damn, that's sick.
It's funny when I put my guess in, I actually was thinking of Tears of the Kingdom and my reaction to that. That's kind of
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
we're on the
fucking
same
sick.
wavelength.
Man,
I got Ben locked in.
I fucking struck out this week. Crazy.
It was a hard week.
This really was, because it was all just a question of like we know there's good stuff in this game,
Yeah.
but how much is the tedium going to affect you?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like it's so fucked up for me at least. Like this, all of the tedium shouldn't have affected me. Like I was able to read most of this at work. Like that it's the perfect way to make the workday go by. But it turns out reading reading about eating breakfast with your harem is more boring than doing actual work.
Oh,
Yeah.
there is something that I learned about myself in this game, or replaying this game after talking to you guys. Because I remember, Seth, you were talking about how like you just played with the audio off and it didn't change much. And I did that for a little bit of the game. I kind of sped through it near the end. And actually do agree where, like, I think this game was perfectly playable without the audio. You could do it just fine.
Yeah, when you guys were talking last week about like the audio was an integral part, I was like, I don't agree because I did like, yeah, it's like it's fine. I like the cheesy music and everything, and like the voice acting's like serviceable, but I didn't think it was like super integral to having a better experience because I don't think that that's the high points of the game.
I liked the voice acting. The voice acting felt like required to me.
I thought the voice acting was like in the fine to good range, which I think is what Thomas said. The problem is since I'm just like left clicking, since I read faster than they speak, it like I'm not really listening to it. I'm just reading, you know.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not saying I love the voice acting. I don't think
Yeah.
it's bad. But when I say that, I just thought that if in my mind I thought it would be more integral because it doesn't show who's speaking. So I felt like maybe you would need the voice acting to identify who's speaking at any given time. But the way that it's written, I think that it conveyed pretty well who was speaking without the audio.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I agree.
Yeah, I played virtually the entire game on auto mode, and I think that would have been a little more annoying without listening to the voices. So I like
Yeah,
the
that
voice
makes
acting.
sense.
Yeah,
that
for me,
makes
like
sense.
Japanese voice acting, I don't know, it just is kind of noise to me. Since I can't understand the words, I can't understand the nuance, so I don't know the difference between a good and bad performance besides the energy that's put into it.
I think the energy can matter. Like I always
Yeah.
think of Aaron from Attack on Titan. Like when he gets mad as fuck, you feel that in the
Sure.
Japanese voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to understand what they're saying to like be able to tell if it's a good or bad performance. Like I can watch, let's see, like Parasite without understanding a single word of Korean, but know that it's being extremely well acted.
Yeah, even though my score, I just want to reiterate, even though I have a low score, I don't think it's like a bad experience. I think it's just too long to basically everything that we've said. Like, I don't hate this game as much as I hated Tears of the Kingdom, even though it's the same score.
Yeah, I think I just have like a high tolerance for shit that is annoying, and I think even though like the visual novel side of this game was very annoying and very shit, it's the only part of it that I didn't like. The only part that I did not like was actually having to consume this as a visual novel. Like everything
Yeah, exactly.
outside of that I actually liked. Like yeah, the fillery breakfast scenes got really fucking annoying, but that was when auto mode became X2 and I just kind of passively skimmed.
I can't imagine any versions of the anime of this is nearly as like lengthy and nonsensical as this route was. I feel like they would have edited it down so that it like made more sense. Like maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but yeah, I feel like that the animes would fix it just via having editors.
Yeah, it also fixed it via having no internal monologues either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that automatically shortens it.
Good point, yeah.
Well, I haven't watched the anime, but some anime definitely do have that, and it can get annoying.
Oh yeah.
Well, in any case, I believe that's it for the episode. We got next week's game, which I have picked. Another game I randomly found on a Reddit comment. Once again, I don't know how I actually found this game, but it is called Unsighted, which I think was described as like a time loopy Metroidvania action roguelike situation. I don't know too many specifics. I played the prologue, or like the tutty rather, and it seems pretty cool so far.
Nice, I'm excited to play it. I haven't
Yeah.
fucking installed on the ROG Ally, ready for that massage share gameplay.
Oh,
I've only looked at the Steam trailer and it looks fucking sweet, so I'm excited to chew into it.
I've been pretty impressed with the art assets so far. But in any case, that's for next week. Thank you for listening.
Shout out Pablo 3, your Steam reviews are goated.
And King of Lollies.